meetings of the Sheriff's Office, as I've done in 9 previous town hall meetings over the last year and a half. And I will tell you, I told you I'm going to do town hall meetings. I'm going to continue the town hall meetings if I have 5, 10, 15, however many people show up. But what it also allows me to do is to show you the needs, and what I'm going to do in this PowerPoint presentation, you're going to see a lot of needs in there. And what has driven this presentation is the turnover rate is what pretty much got it started of the Sheriff's Office, especially the jail and communications, which are 2 very important functions of the Sheriff's Office. The jail, I will tell you, as the sitting sheriff, it is the quickest place that me as the sheriff and Smith County can be the subject of a lawsuit. And I think it's very important to have the proper number of personnel there, to keep that from happening. But what it also allows me to do is I talked about transparency. If you'll remember, I know many of you were here throughout the election cycle over a year and a half ago, and I think it went on for 2 years. But anyway, I made some comments during that, and hopefully I fulfilled most of my promises that I told you that I would do when I took office. I don't make statements lightly when I say I'm going to do something. I intend to do it, or I would never say it. And the biggest part of that is when I tell you that I have simply been hired to manage your sheriff's office. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to you, the people. And when I come out and speak to you and speak to other groups, it allows me to get the feedback that I need, because communication is not a one-way street. It's both ways. Unless I can hear what your needs are, I can't properly function as your sheriff of Smith County. So that is what is so good about these meetings like this. And again, I want to reiterate, this is a presentation of what the needs are, what some of the problems we see about not being able to retain employees and things of that nature. They're simply ideas that we've come up with to try to turn that around. And I don't want you to look at me like I got 3 eyes up here and think I'm naive enough to think that we can fund every one of these in 1 year. We didn't get to this situation in 1 year, but my thoughts are we need to find out the root of the problem, or what I like to refer to as opportunities instead of problems, and get it headed in the right direction. Because I truly believe the best is yet to come for Smith County. I don't think we've already seen the best of Smith County. I think it's yet to come. But I'll go ahead and get started on your, if you will, I'd like to save the questions for after I'm through the presentation, if that's okay. I just want to go over first, you only told me I had 2 hours, right?
Right.
I guess not. That was a question, that wasn't a statement. I want to go over a few of the things that we've been able to do at the Sheriff's Office. Increase the number of patrol officers on the streets, and I promise you I'm not going to read this whole presentation to you. To improve the response times and on-view offensive arrest. Discontinue the use of patrol, which we're delivering trustees out to different workplaces and delivering the interdepartmental mail. That's not what they need to be doing. Their function needs to be out in the community. That's where I put them back to. Acquired gas cards through the help of the Commissioner's Court, where when we went to a 12-hour shift, we don't have to come all the way in from Lindale and Winona, all the way into the downtown Tyler to refuel our vehicles. We can do it there at the location. I believe we get a 5 cent a gallon discount off of that. And depending on when you buy your bulk fuel, sometimes it's a better price, sometimes it's a little bit more expensive. But anyway, that allows us to keep the deputy on the street where they need to be. We purchased tasers for all the patrol officers to reduce injuries and potential lawsuits. We were getting, the first time that I saw that we were one of the only law enforcement agencies within the county that didn't have tasers. So when I got woken up at about 5 a.m. one Sunday morning and had 3 deputies in the hospital, I said, okay, we got to do something. So through private donations, we were able to buy the tasers for them. So that has helped tremendously. We created an Office of Professional Responsibility, which, as you heard Joanne say a minute ago, I don't think it's any secret anymore that unfortunately, I'm not up here to boast about this, there's nothing to boast about, but we have arrested 4 employees that work for the Sheriff's Office. One is in Leavenworth Penitentiary right now for delivering crack cocaine and methamphetamine in a patrol car. I'm not proud of that, but I tell you, I'm going to do what I promised y'all to do. We're going to clean it up, and I think we have somewhat, and we've turned the ship around, and I believe it's headed in the right direction. But we created that Office of Professional Responsibility, which is nothing more than a fancy term for internal affairs, and he has been very busy. He also serves as kind of interdepartmental human resources person that has to do all this hiring and coordinates all of the interviews, the background investigations for the potential employees we have. We created an public information officer position, and what we did on that, we combined 2 administrative positions with the help of Commissioners Court in the middle of the budget year, right after I took office, and we were able to come up with that position. But I'm going to go back and tell you right quick before I forget, all of these things I've said we've done so far hasn't cost you another penny, or we haven't hired another person. Matter of fact, I think we've been able to do away with 2, maybe 3 positions. I think it's 2. And what that also does, when we combine the 2 to get a public information officer position, it also, what you need to realize, it also does away with that 41%, I think it is, benefit package that person gets. So we really save more money than it really looks like we have. But what is so important to me about a public information officer, it goes back again, it's your sheriff's office, it's your law enforcement agency. You need to know what's going on within the sheriff's office. And the vehicle by which we do that is a public information officer through the media to you. And that, as well as the town hall meetings we're having. We created 2 multi-purpose K-9 positions for patrol, tracking, and narcotics enforcement. I can tell you we could use 1 or 2 more, but I don't think we're going to be getting 1 or 2 more, but they stay busy is what I'm trying to say. We received a 24-foot Skeeter boat, center console boat from Skeeter over in Kilgore at no cost to the taxpayer. What we do with that boat, if we don't use it hardly any other time, if the need arises, we will be able to. We usually use it on major holidays when Lake Palestine and Lake Tyler get so crowded that you need more law enforcement on it. We do that in conjunction, and so far what we've been doing with the personnel we put in the boat, it's on a volunteer basis. And then we will take another couple of volunteers usually from patrol. I believe we got 1 from jail transport that does it. And we will add a second person to the game warden boat in Lake Palestine or Lake Tyler just to make sure everybody has a safe holidays and gets back to where they need to be. When I started visiting the jail after the election was over with, I wanted to get a head start on some things. One of the things that kind of bugged me, it ate at me quite a bit, is I'd be up there on the floor where the inmates are, and the detention officer would have to holler back at the picket, which is the little room where the one operating the door sits, and have to holler 2 or 3 times and get them to open a door or whatever. I said, this has to improve. So what we were able to do is purchase 2-way radios, and what I was able to do, I checked with the attorney, the DA's office, to make sure it was a legitimate purchase, I'm sorry. But we have funds referred to as inmate commissary funds. Those are funds where we sell commissary to the inmates, and we get a percentage of that from a commissary company that are discretionary funds for me to use as long as it benefits the safety and security, or it benefits the inmate in some way. I mean, we'll buy basketballs, we'll buy sometimes mattress covers, pillows, things of that nature to help along with the budget. But we were able to purchase those, and what I want to tell you is at no cost to the taxpayer for that purchase. We've enhanced courthouse security through the purchase of ballistic vests, firearms, radios, tasers, and training. We didn't need a wake-up call at our courthouse here to tell we needed more security. And there were some security measures put in place, but as far as the personnel there went, the building and everything was made a little bit more secure. But we felt that we needed to go to that next step and Commissioners Court and Judge Baker allowed us to use funds out of the courthouse security fund to make these purchases. So we've retrofitted the administrative office. One of the things when I came into office that I saw, we had no communication, direct communication from the command staff to the Emergency Operations Center out on Spur 248 towards Chapel Hill. And if we had something very major going on in the county of a big emergency, we would have to rely on just being on the telephone with communications to try to communicate with them. Through a generous purchase by Brookshire Grocery Company, we were able to purchase a smart board where we can not only be working on the smart board, but we're in a process of trying to make it where we can have in the top right or left corner, you can have video conferencing in real time with the Emergency Operations Center. So it's almost like you're there. It's still not quite as good as being there, but it's almost like you're there. We purchased patrol rifles and shotguns as a result of a sale of seized firearms. The legislature passed a law, it went into effect, I believe, in September, that allowed us to do that. And we were able to purchase much needed patrol rifles and shotguns for Patrol and Criminal Investigation Division, our SWAT team, again at no cost to the taxpayer. We've improved working relationships tremendously with Tyler Police Department. And finally, the final one is we're saving about $2,200 per vehicle on the striping package on our patrol vehicles. They were costing about $2,700. We're getting it done for $500 now. And I heard somebody say the other day, I've wasted a lot of money on restriping vehicles. I'll tell you, unless something was late model, low mileage, you see many black and white vehicles still going with sheriff's sign on it now. That's because they're older vehicles that I do not think it would be the right thing for me to do to spend another $500 on top of $2,700 to have that vehicle striped just where it looks pretty and looks just like the rest of them. So. This slide here is just kind of a direct result of me showing you where we've improved the coverage, the patrol coverage, the response times. I ran a query, I believe last week. The average response time now for a deputy out in the unincorporated part of the county is 15 minutes and 20 seconds, I believe. When I first started campaigning, I heard many times, wherever I went throughout the county, sometimes it would take 45 minutes, an hour, and sometimes an hour and a half to respond. You can't have results like on the slide right here without having the proper number of deputies on the street and having a proper response time. And what that is, I believe there's 11 or 12 there these are on view arrests, where we had an officer out there that answered a burglar alarm and caught burglars, or we caught them in the act of burglarizing a business or whatever. But since December 24th of this last year, up until June 26th, we've done those, and there's been a total number of 27 defendants arrested on view, and we've cleared 18 additional offenses from the arrest of those 27. These are just town hall meetings I've conducted. We've done 8, I believe. And now I want to get into the staffing, salaries, and employee turnover is what y'all want to hear, I believe, what I came here for. And just kind of lead into it. Sheriff's Office employees are often required to work with less than 2 days off per week, and this is mostly in the jail and Criminal Investigation Division. This is necessary due to being understaffed and unable to accommodate those days off. And when I say understaffed, I'm not saying that we haven't been allotted the proper number of positions in patrol or CID. We're doing good there. We could use a little help probably in communications and in the jail, which we'll get into in a minute. But what this is mostly from, we've got the positions to hire, but we have that revolving door where we have the open positions. We're continually interviewing for new employees, and then you have that 6 months to a year before they're fully competent to turn them loose on their own to do the job of a law enforcement officer. So that's what the presentation is mostly about. We're required to be on duty 24/7, all holidays, weekends, and bad weather days. At this time, we've examined over 1,200 job applications, and we're hiring about 1 out of 10 now, I think. It's changed a little bit since they're, and that's not 1 out of 10 we interview, that's 1 out of 10 of the applications we get in. Because I can tell you, just like Ms. Fleming said earlier, I'm not gonna lower the standards to hire somebody to have a warm body if they're not fit, and if they're not the proper background and personality to fit in with the way we need to go in law enforcement in Smith County. They're not going to be hired. I would rather work short-handed than I had lower the standard. One thing that I'm proud of, and there's no wood to knock on here, but it's going on 1 year and 7 months now, and the attorney that commonly defends us in lawsuits, he probably jinxed me when he said it, but we're going on 1 year and 7 months now, and we haven't had one lawsuit against the citizens of Smith County because of the sheriff's office. So. As I was saying, we're experiencing costly turnover personnel manifested by additional training and startup costs. Exit interviews have indicated the following reasons for personnel leaving: non-competitive law enforcement pay, the retirement matching, which